Call this meeting to order. We'll begin with a roll call, please.
Jeff West.
Here.
Ray Karen.
Here.
Ken Fletcher.
Here.
Jerry Kurian.
Here.
Patricia West.
Yes.
Ben Twitchell. Steve Russell.
Yes. Pledge of Allegiance.
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I would ask that everybody please silence their cell phones. And I'll entertain a motion to approve the minutes of our last meeting.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any corrections or additions? If not, all in favor, please raise your right hand. Opposed, same sign. Communications, public comment. If anybody from the public would like to get up to the podium and state their name and address, they can speak on any topic they'd like to right now.
My name is Bill Sadowski. I live on Quinville Lane. I would like to have a confirmation on the discharge of firearms for target practice. What times are there that you can and you can't do this? This is in Zone 5.
Zone 5. Do we have a noise?
We do, and we have, I think we have some time.
There's a ordinance for excessive noise, which that would fall under it. I think it's 9 o'clock.
I think it's 9 o'clock
It's
probably.
10 o'clock.
Is it 9 o'clock?
6 to 10.
6 to 10, okay.
So that's what it falls under?
I believe it'd be excessive noise at this point, yeah.
Okay. Would you draw me up a letter and mail it to me on that, so that I'll have it for my records?
I can do that, Mr.
Yeah,
Chairman.
we can do that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments from the public?
My name's Brian Willett. I live on 356 Bassett Road. I'm not sure if this is the time to bring it up, but I'm here to ask a question about maintenance of Bassett Road. Can I bring that up now, or should I wait for another time?
If it's quickly, otherwise you should probably contact either your council representative or one of the at-large ones. But
Okay.
if you got a quick message, you can do that.
Well, I was wondering if it was going to get paved this year, because the Public Works didn't really patch it that well. And there are people on the road that are throwing dirt into the potholes to fix it themselves.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman, if I may, at this point, it's not on the list to be paved this year. And we have run out of cold patch, and so we are using dirt to fill the potholes.
Okay.
Until we can get some cold patch.
All right. Yeah, I'm not sure if it was the Public Works, because there's only one pothole and there are a lot of potholes. So it's to the point that people are driving on the wrong side of the road to avoid them. It's kind of dangerous.
Okay. Thank you.
All right.
We'll see what we can do. Any further public comments? If not, we'll move on to reports of committees and commissions, and we'll begin with the town manager's report.
And Mr. Chairman, the only thing I have really is the comprehensive plan. I've provided you with a list of prospective members, and I would like to get 1 or 2 council members who would be interested in serving on that. Tonight, we're going to take the second reading of the order, which will authorize me to sign that agreement. And I'm hoping to get started either the latter part of this month or the first part of next month, bringing the committee together and start the process.
There are 2 councilors that would like to volunteer for that.
Sure. Jeff?
Yeah. Jerry? Anybody else? No? That's good. Thank you.
Very good. Thank
Do we
you
have
very
to
much.
confirm that, or is that just?
Hey, maybe Beth.
Yeah, we could always.
Ben's
Ben,
on, he'll throw
if
him
nobody volunteered, it would be done.
And that's all I have, Mr. Chairman.
Are there any questions for the town manager in his report?
The proposed sewer rate increase. You got that from $3 per cubic foot to $4.50. When is that going to take effect?
I thought we could go over that when we do the order, but that would take effect actually the next cycle for billing, which would be the first quarter of the next fiscal year. That's when that would take effect.
Any other questions?
I'll get them now.
Okay. Any other questions for the town manager? And we also have the department reports, the finance committee report, and the financial report. Does anybody have any questions for any of our department heads? If not, I'll entertain a motion to accept all reports as given.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? All in favor, please raise your right hand. Okay, we are going to take the budget order out of order. Start with that first tonight, and then that is. Didn't get it out of order, did I? Thank you. Guess I don't have it, then I have that. Does somebody want to make a motion to read by title only?
If you could, Mr. Chairman, I move that we dispense with the reading of all the line items in by title only, and read by title.
Second.
All in favor, please raise your right hand. We will make this available for the television camera to be put online when it gets filmed. Is that satisfactory to everybody? So let's sit down so everybody can see this. So order number 9, 2019 is an order providing for approval of the Town of Winslow 2019-2020 fiscal budget series in the amount of $25,145,337 and to establish a tax due date and interest rate on taxes remaining unpaid. The amount of $25,000, $25,145,300 shall be raised and appropriated for the period of July 1st, 2019 to June 30th, 2020, and that estimated dedicated and educational revenues of $8,267,409 shall be used in reducing the tax commitment. What's your pleasure? Or do you want me to read the titles of all the other ones?
I think you might want to read it further.
Okay.
After all the line items.
Okay. Be it further ordered. Be it further ordered that the school committee be authorized to expend $16,318,444 for the fiscal year beginning July 1st, 2019 and ending June 30th, 2020 for public education from kindergarten to grade 12, which includes $488,670 for the annual payments on debt service previously approved by the Town of Winslow for non-state funded school construction project, non-state funded portions of school construction projects, and minor capital projects. And be it further ordered that the said net appropriation shall establish the 2019-2020 tax commitment. And be it further ordered that any amount of municipal revenue funds raised over the above stated amounts will be applied to the overlay fund. Be it further ordered that the amount of school revenue funds raised over the above stated amount will first be used to reduce the amount of municipal fund balance applied and then be used to reduce the tax rate. Be it further ordered that taxes shall become due and payable October 12, 2018, and that 1/4 of the taxes shall be charged interest at the rate of 7% if it remains unpaid after October 11, 2019. And be it further reordered that if 1/2 of the taxes due remains unpaid after December 6, 2019, an interest penalty of 7% shall be charged to 1/2 of the taxes. And be it further ordered that if 3/4 of the taxes due remain unpaid after March 6, 2020, an interest penalty of 7% shall be charged to 3/4 of the taxes. And be it further ordered that if the taxes due remains unpaid after June 5th, 2020, an interest penalty of 7% per year shall be charged. And be it further ordered that any tax which has been deemed overpaid shall be returned to the taxpayer with an interest rate of 3% per year. What is your pleasure? Moved and seconded. Open for discussion.
You know, if you could, Mr. Chairman, I do know that the education group have been working very hard at putting this budget together, and if there is any updates that we need to be aware of from our meeting a week ago, this could be an opportunity. So if we could call on the superintendent and the school board chair to advise us if there's any changes.
There is. Who says the glass can't be half full? When we had presented to you earlier, we had said that we were still waiting on our insurance rates. And, you know, we haven't even had a conversation with the board yet about this. We have a board meeting next Monday night to go over this information in detail, but just to look at it from a 10,000-foot overview here. We had mentioned to you that for each percent saved in insurance, it was equivalent to about $25,000, which is great news. And we had said that we knew that the insurance wouldn't come in more than 7%, so we knew that we had already lopped off 3% of that, and 3% of that, of course, we thought would be $75,000. So we were waiting to hear what our actual percentage rate was going to be. Last Thursday, we heard, and our percentage rate is zip.
0.
Who says the glass isn't half full? However, there is always a however. We made $474,000 worth of cuts to salaries in order to get to the point that we're at. So the insurance company has to recalibrate our rates based on actuals. Who remains? And so the savings in percentage isn't quite as great as we had hoped. However, it's still a healthy savings. So we're looking at a total of savings of about $141,899.03, which is a lot better than we had anticipated. So when looking at the big picture at this point, that number that we gave you, that was kind of an anticipated number of the 864,607.88 would actually drop to 797,708.85.
And if I could just ask a clarification question. So the school board will consider this next Monday?
Yes.
And so we will have to wait for the school board's approval if I want to use it.
Yes, this is the newest information.
Right.
We haven't had a conversation, but this is what we have. 22nd, I'm sorry.
22nd.
I'm pushing it. Next Monday is vacation
Okay.
for everyone.
Okay.
It'll be time for our second reading.
Right,
Yeah.
so as the chairman pointed out, we can leave, if the council so desires, we can leave the numbers as they are. And then by the second reading, we will have the school board's recommendation as to any modifications.
Yes, correct.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions for the superintendent while he's there?
Thank you very much.
I will say one thing, those of you who are looking at the math and looking very closely at things. If you remember on that second draft that you saw, the bottom right-hand corner, that number that we were asking for, that was the 936,607, and we did an estimation of 75,000. Well, those of you who are gonna do the math, you're gonna say, wait a minute, if you take away 141,899, it doesn't come up to that number, and you will be correct. The reason for that is because if you look at the 279, what we were allocated last year at first was 17,784 less than an adjustment we received. I wanted to be transparent with you the entire time. I put the higher amount in there the entire time so that you could see what we actually got throughout the course of the year, knowing that that would show a little bit of a savings again at the end. So that's where the additional 17,784 comes from. It's in our favor.
Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate that. Raymond.
So, with the anticipation, at the last meeting, the budget workshop we had, we said that the mill rate we would put a cap on the mill rate and try to find savings to a mill rate of, I believe it was 0.75. So this budget is referencing that, correct? The 0.75.
Yes. The current reading.
This current budget here, so.
Yep. You know, whether we would our decision be to make an adjustment to that 0.75 or to return some to the, use less of the fund balance?
I think that's a decision.
That's a decision we will make before the final
Like that, once we know the final number.
Right, once we know the final number, yeah. Raymond?
Well, we had looked at the Crow Rope situation and divvying up, if that potential divvying up that into 3, we've front-loaded perhaps the sale of that.
Yeah.
Up a little higher, we would maybe even out that or return that to fund balance,
Right, that's-
depending on what the council wants.
Yeah. Yeah. Any further discussion, questions?
You know, if you could,
Yeah.
Mr. Chairman, I just want to comment overall, I think this is a challenging budget year. I think people have done a good job. We've made some policy decisions that we need to increase folks in our fire department, and that is a pretty significant amount of money, but I think we've all worked through that to understand that we got to make sure that we've got the skilled folks available when we need them. So that's a big change. We've also had to deal with, we've also made a decision that the employees, the non-contractual employees will get a 3% increase because they do good work, and it's, you know, it's time that we recognize that. And in addition, I just want to commend the school board and Superintendent Tivitot. This was not an easy budget, but I appreciate all the work and time and energy that everybody spent to get to a number, and we know how we got to that number. It wasn't last minute, let's sit here and see if we can shoot from the hip and hit something. I really appreciate that. But I do want to comment to make sure people understand that this proposed budget increase is a 4.1% increase in the property tax mill rate. That'll be about $109 increased taxes if we don't change anything for the median household. But that is a direct result of the decisions the legislature has made to cut municipal revenue sharing. I've been watching the numbers and following them through. If we got the full 5%, which is statutorily defined, we would get another $494,000 from revenue sharing. If we got $494,000, we would not need to increase the mill rate. It would just, we wouldn't have a 0.75 mill rate increase. And property taxpayers wouldn't be paying $109 more per household. The MMA actually did some good work and looked at, since the municipal revenue sharing has been cut, and they broke it out by town, which was very helpful. From FY15 through FY19, Winslow did not receive $2,577,804. If we had received that, based on my calculations, we would not have had to increase the mill rate 4 times. Black and white, it's numbers, it's not maybe, it's real numbers. In addition to the municipal revenue sharing cut, the legislature has chosen not to fully fund 55% voter-approved education funding. And that has cost us, I didn't figure out the numbers, but it's $500+ thousand a year. And what is, hopefully that the legislature is going to make some changes, but the governor's budget as proposed would continue to underfund municipal revenue sharing and education. And according to my numbers, that's at least $950,000 a year we will not be receiving. But let's just say we did receive that. That's a mill rate impact of 1.45 mils, of $212 for the average household. So, even though I think we've done a really good job with the budget, we need some help from the legislature, because we cannot be the only creative ones to keep putting stuff off, working around. And I would ask us all to contact our state senator and our state representative to remind them that they are supposed to be representing us. And the numbers are there, and I'm very uncomfortable keep pushing the burden back on the property taxpayers. Because I know we want to fund our schools, and I know we gotta fund the services and keep people safe and keep the roads plowed and everything else, but we gotta have some help. and that help has to come from the legislature. So that's my observation, Mr. Chairman, and I do appreciate the work that
I
everybody's
appreciate
done.
that, Ken. Thank you. Anybody else like to make any comments? Any more discussion? If not, we'll have a roll call vote.
Jeff West,
Yes.
Ray Karen,
Yes.
Ken Fletcher,
Yes,
Jerry Querian,
Yes.
Patricia West.
Yes.
And Steve Russell.
Yes. Now we will move on to the regular order that we have written down. Under old business, we'll begin with order number 5, 2019. An order providing for the authorization of the town manager to sign the attached contract with KV Cog to update the town's 2008 comprehensive plan at a cost not to exceed $25,000. Be it ordered by Town Council of the Town of Winslow as follows: whereas the town's 2008 comprehensive plan needs to be updated, and whereas KV Cog assists municipalities with updating the comprehensive plan, and whereas TIF money can be used to fund the project, now therefore be it ordered by Town Manager hereby authorized to sign the attached contract with KV Cog to update the town's 2008 comprehensive plan at a cost not to exceed $25,000.
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded, open for discussion. Everybody's ready, all set on that?
Jeff West.
Yes.
Ray Karen.
Yes.
Ken Fletcher.
Yes.
Jerry Querian, Patricia West.
Yes.
Steve Russell.
Yes. Move on to order number 6, 2019. An order providing for authorization for the town manager to sign the attached employment agreement with Sean O'Leary, hereafter called the chief, to continue to perform the services of police chief. Be it ordered by Town Council of Town of Winslow as follows: whereas the town manager desires to renew the chief's employment agreement, which expires on June 30th, 2019. Whereas it is the desire of the town to provide certain benefits, establish certain conditions of employment, and to set working conditions for the chief. And whereas the chief desires to maintain employment as police chief of the town of Winslow, now therefore be it ordered by Town Council of the Town of Winslow, the town manager is hereby authorized to sign the attached employment agreement with Sean O'Leary to continue to perform the services of the police chief.
So moved.
Moved. Second. And the second, open for discussion.
Okay, Mr. Chairman, I think when, I can't remember exactly when we had this discussion, we were talking about the residency, which was really getting at the mileage, which means how far away can the chief theoretically live. And I think we talked about a number of 25 miles. After further consideration, I would make a motion to amend that to 35-mile radius. And if so merited, I can speak to my motion if there is a second.
Is there a second?
Second.
There's moved and seconded as an amendment to order number 6, discussion on the amendment.
Yes, if I could, Mr. Chairman, I think at the time we were thinking, or at least I was thinking of the way things were 25, 30 years ago. I think now with the level of technology and the communication capability and with the structure that is in place, certainly we want everybody to live in Winslow and pay property taxes, but I realize that's an unrealistic expectation and it may not be something that we even need. But I think after you really think about it, that 35-mile radius would still provide proximity and the timeliness to perform the critical role that the chief does provide to this town. So that's the basis of the change.
Any further discussion on the proposed amendment? If not, we'll have a roll call vote on just the amendment.
Jeff West.
Yes.
Ray Karen.
Yes.
Ken Fletcher.
Yes.
Jerry Querian.
Yes.
Patricia West.
Yes.
And Steve Russell.
Yes. Now for the order number 6, is there any further discussion on that order? If not, we'll have a roll call vote on the order number 6 as amended.
Jeff West.
Yes.
Ray Karen.
Yes.
Ken Fletcher.
Yes.
Jerry Querian.
Yes.
Patricia West.
Yes.
And Steve Russell.
Yes. Moving on to new business. Begin with ordinance number 1, 2019. Ordinance providing for an amendment to Chapter 14, Article 4 of the Winslow Town Code, titled Zoning Districts, by adding the underlined language and deleting the strike-through language in the attached section. Be it ordained by Town Council of Town of Winslow as follows: whereas the town manager and code enforcement officer are recommended that 14-50 contract zoning be added to the zoning ordinance. Now therefore be it ordained by Town Council, Town of Winslow, Maine, that Chapter 14, Article 4, titled Zoning Districts, be amended by adding the underlined language and deleting the strike-through language in the attached section. What is your pleasure?
So moved.
Moved. Second. And seconded. Open for discussion.
Yes, if I may. This provides for a process that we haven't used in the past. It's called contract zoning. Waterville uses it. It's been authorized through state legislation. Oftentimes it can prevent the need to go in and actually rezone an area. It would allow us to take a case-by-case basis for a particular property and say, for example, the needs of the property owner in terms of business or other zoning issues. And this would also allow us, if we sell our industrial building, to come up with a zoning contract that would allow us to keep the building connected until such time as we separate them. So.
Any further discussion? Is that a roll call vote?
It is.
We all set? We'll have a roll call vote.
Jeff West.
Yes.
Ray Karen. Yes. Ken Fletcher.
Yes.
Jerry Kurian.
Yes.
Patricia West. Yes. Steve Russell.
Yes. Moving on to ordinance number 2, 2019. Ordinance providing for an amendment to Chapter 14, Article 4, zoning districts by adding temporary itinerant vendor and seasonal itinerant vendor as allowable uses in the mixed-use zoning district. Be it ordained by Town Council of the Town of Winslow as follows. Whereas the town has historically allowed itinerant vendors in the mixed-use district, now therefore be it ordered by Town Council of the Town of Winslow, Maine, that Chapter 14, Article 4 in the Winslow Town Code, titled Zoning Districts, be amended by adding temporary itinerant vendor and seasonal itinerant vendor as allowable uses in the mixed-use zoning district.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Open for discussion.
Mr. Chairman, if I may, the planning board has voted, and I did put that in here because I didn't have that info at the time, but they have since voted for this amendment. I can only assume that when we created the mixed-use zone, that somehow that just got, there was an oversight, it just got left out. So, and we do currently allow it.
Any further discussion? We all set? Roll call vote?
Jeff West.
Yes.
Ray Karen.
Yes.
Ken Fletcher.
Yes.
Jerry Kurian.
Yes.
Patricia West. Yes. And Steve Russell.
Yes. Moving on to order number 7, 2019, an order providing for the acceptance of a labor contract between Winslow Full-Time Police Officers Union and the Town of Winslow. Be it ordained by the town, be it ordered by the Town Council of the Town of Winslow as follows. Whereas the Town of Winslow, through its town manager, has negotiated a labor contract for Winslow Full-Time Police Officers Union as attached hereto. And whereas the Town Council recognizes its responsibility to provide a fair and equitable labor agreements for its police personnel. And whereas both the town manager and the association have reached an agreement, now therefore be it ordered that the attached labor agreement is adopted by the Town Council effective July 1st, 2019 and remains in effect until June 30th, 2022.
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded, open for discussion. Go ahead.
Good, Mr. Chairman. I know we reviewed this, and I think it's a good agreement, and it seems to be beneficial both to the people within the union as well as the good work that they do for the town, so I support this.
Any further discussion? If not, we'll have a roll call vote.
Jeff West.
Yes.
Ray Karen.
Yes.
Ken Fletcher.
Yes.
Jerry Kurian.
Yes.
Patricia West. Yes. And Steve Russell.
Yes. We will move on to Order 8, 2019, an order providing for an increase in the sewer flow rate charge for public sewer users. Be it ordered by the Town Council of the Town of Winslow as follows. Whereas the Town Council desires to keep the sewer system self-sustaining by collecting sufficient fees from users to cover the operating costs and capital improvement expenditures. And whereas the town recommends that the sewer rate charge be increased by $150 to help fund needed sewer capital improvement projects. Now therefore be it ordered by the Town Council, Town of Winslow, that the flow rate charge for use of the public sewer system be increased from $3 per 100 cubic feet to $4.50 per 100 cubic feet. Be it further ordered that the increase shall take effect July 1st, 2019. What is your pleasure?
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded.
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, if I may, As you may recall, last fiscal year, we actually did not put any money into the sewer surplus. So even if we don't consider the fact that we took a bond and have a bond payment, the sewer rate, I was going to recommend that we raise the sewer rate because we need to start putting money aside for capital projects. So this $1.50 additional is, I estimate, is going to give us around $100,000 additional dollars each year to go towards capital expenditures, plus it will cover the bond payment. And it's difficult to figure out what the impact's going to be to the sewer user. I know I actually had Paul put together the numbers that were attached to my report to kind of give you a sense, but what we don't have is what the average user uses. So we had to use, I think Paul used, was it 8,000? 8,000, which is probably high. So anyway, using 8,000, that means the annual increase for the user would be $120 or $30 per quarter.
Any further discussion? Go ahead, Jim.
Yeah, so, you said $120?
Yes.
For a year?
Yes.
On top of 109, so that would be basically we'll call it a tax, total tax increase of 229. I'm not saying that this will not, it's not bad or good, but we do need it. If we don't fix our infrastructure, it could be very expensive later on.
Any further discussion? Raymond?
It's just that if you look at the rate increase, roughly 120 per the users of the sewer only, that's more than what the mill rate increase that we're looking at of about $109. So it was, after a lot of debate and the aging sewer system that we felt we needed in the future to put capital in or they'll collapse, basically. And they're very old in the town of Winslow, so that sewer rate increase, although substantial, is needed for, like you said, my capital projects for the future, or we just won't be able to fund it.
Any further discussion?
The other question is we're so low in our sewer rate that if we don't increase it, we can't even get grants if we put in for it.
Do you know how that compares, the 450 compares to other towns? Is it in the ballpark?
It shows it here.
Oh, it does, okay. Okay. Any further discussion? If not, I'll have a roll call vote.
Jeff West,
Yes.
Ray Karen.
Yes.
Ken Fletcher.
Yes.
Jerry Kurian.
Yes.
Patricia West. Yes. And Steve Russell.
Yes. We will move on to resolution number 15, 2019, a resolution providing for authorization for the town's Historic Preservation Committee to conduct an oral history project titled Our Town, Our Story, Winslow, Maine, to record Winslow residents' memories of Winslow's historical events and national historical events. Be it resolved by Town Council of the Town of Winslow as follows, whereas the Historic Preservation Committee wishes to conduct an oral history project that will involve conducting oral history interviews that will be properly recorded, archived, transcribed, and disseminated. And whereas the Historic Preservation Committee will solicit donations to fully fund the project, now therefore be resolved by Town Council of the Town of Winslow that the town's Historic Preservation Committee is hereby authorized to conduct an oral history project titled Our Town, Our Story, Winslow, Maine, to record Winslow residents' memories of Winslow's historical events and national historical events. And be it further resolved that the town manager is hereby authorized to create a balance sheet account to manage the funds for the oral history project.
Mr. Chairman.
Can I have a motion?
So moved.
And a second? Second. Moved and second, open for discussion.
Yep, what happened to number 10?
Order.
Oh.
Skipped over it, but that's all right.
I just skipped it, I guess, yep. It wasn't coming up next on my sheet.
Mr. Chairman, I had questioned the town's Historic Preservation Committee. I thought maybe it was a subset of the CIA because I couldn't find it anywhere in the annual report or anything else. But thanks to Mike, he did bring me up on the history, and I understand that, the reason we created it 6 or 7 or 8 years ago. And so it really sounds like an interesting project, and I appreciate people volunteering to bring it forward. One thing I do ask is, do we have a written plan as to what we're gonna do, whoever, not maybe right tonight, we don't need to see it, but I would suggest that it would be good to have a written plan so that we talk about the ideas around how we're gonna have notification, advertising, how we will select the participants, and these are just some thoughts, and how will donations be collected, and who has the authority to approve the expenditures. Now, that may have already been thought through and it's all together, but I would suggest that that be I call it a written plan, but it's just so that we could put it on the website, or if somebody wanted to know, we could show it to them.
That's a good idea. We're in the process now. Ray and I have been kind of working on some of the logistics of it. So yeah, I think that's a good idea.
Raymond?
Yeah, pretty much the part of the project and what we're trying to do here is that there's a lot of history, there's a lot of people in the town of Winslow, and whenever somebody passes away, we lose that history. And we are trying to make a concerted effort right now to capture all the citizens that have really sweated and put their lives into the town of Winslow. And so we're formulating right now with Crossroads-TV, and we're getting, of course, the structure to get funding and donations into the program. Part of the program also will be, if you go to the winslowmaine.gov, there's a Winslow history section with a whole bunch of pictures. So part of the project, too, would be to set up a scanner at the library, and we got a grant 7 years ago, Mike, if Mike can further, that would scan these historic photos that we have, that people have, and then they would go to a hard drive, and then from there we can either put them on the Winslow Historic site or we can put it on the main memory site. But these would be archived for everybody to look in for. We're also working with the school system so that these interviews will be indexed, and so through projects at the school, whether it's World War II, whether it's the Depression, whether it's a whole bunch of different issues, that they would be able to reference and do research on these projects from people that lived through the Depression, or parents lived through the Depression, or remember when they carved ice on the Sebastopol River. So we don't want to lose, don't want to miss opportunities. So this is what the whole crux of the project is. And Mike, maybe you want to add more to it. And we're in the process right now of really just organizational. We've got a group together that's looking into, of course, the cost and placement of some of this infrastructure that we have. We've applied for grants. Some will be coming in, and then hopefully we'll get people that are interested in doing these interviews.
No, very good. Good description.
Any further discussion?
Do you know how many people you're interviewing? Do you have a group in?
One of the things is right now is, through the group, we've identified a list of names, but we're really not in that process of going out and trying to get people to come in to do the interviews yet. There's a whole bunch of structure and just logistics. The interview or the questions, how you feel comfortable, where to do it. There's a whole bunch of stuff, and we're doing that research, and we're doing our groundwork, so that when we start interviewing these people, that it's a professional, was thought out well. We'll do mock interviews before so that we'll practice. And I must admit that Chad's been working with us, and he's been a great help for us as far as a reference goes to a lot of this stuff, and we thank Crossroads for helping us do that and stuff.
Thank you, Raymond. Any further? Yeah.
Through the chair to Ken, you suggested that we should put this in writing. Who's going to do that?
Not everybody raise a hand.
Well, that'd be me.
That would be.
We'll through the process as we work our way through this, we'll come up with the written documentation material that folks will need to understand the project. and so forth, and we're hoping eventually to get to the point where we can get the word out as far as potential interviewees, folks that may have knowledge of certain topics that we're looking at.
Right.
And so we got to figure out how to reach out to folks.
Jerry, right?
Well, yeah.
Mr. Chairman, I think, these things sound easy to do, but once you put the structures together and everything else, one of the things that I think that we need to be sure of is make sure people understand that it's open access.
Right.
You know what I mean? Now, maybe somebody hasn't got much to add, particularly around the history or something, but I think we gotta make sure that it's open access. So that everybody who's interested has the opportunity to come in and tell whatever they know, versus having a select list. Thank you.
Any further discussion or comment? If not,
Was there a first and second on this one?
yes, I believe there was. Was it Trish and
Trish and Jerry?
Jerry? I think.
Yeah, we'll
I'm filling in for Ben tonight. Normally it's Ben and Jerry, but tonight it's Ben and Jerry.
We own the ice cream place.
Ice cream joint, yeah.
If there's no further discussion, we'll have a show of hands, right? All in favor, please raise your right hand. Opposed, same sign. Passes unanimous. We'll back up a second and we'll move.
Excuse myself. Thank you.
Yes.
Yep, go ahead.
Have fun, Ray.
Bye, Ray.
Anytime, Ray. We'll call
Hi,
them.
Reg.
We'll move back to order number 10, 2019. An order providing for authorization for the reclaiming, grading, repaving of Benton Avenue from the Roderick Road to the Benton Town Line at a total cost not to exceed $1.2 million. Be it ordered by Town Council, Town of Winslow as follows. Whereas Benton Avenue is in need of being repaved, and whereas the project is an MPI and MDOT has agreed to contribute up to $500,000 towards the project, and whereas the Public Works Director is estimating the project will cost $1,100,000. Now, therefore, be it ordered by the Town Council of Town of Winslow that authorization is given for the reclaiming, grading, and repaving of Benton Avenue from the Roderick Road to the Benton Town Line at a total cost not to exceed $1.2 million. And be it further ordered that the project will be funded from the Street and Roads capital account. What is your pleasure? Moved.
Good, Trish, do it.
Oh, second.
Moved and
Sorry.
seconded. Order number 10 is on the table for discussion.
Just carrying all of you through this meeting right now.
Yeah, because,
Yes,
Mr.
Ken.
Chairman, I understand this project, and I did read the notes from a Public Works Director that, they're working on getting that paving project cost down to the maximum 1.2. During the budget process, we outlined, that the Public Works Director outlined the 1920 project scope list. And we're gonna do the 201 turning lane out of Benton Avenue, and we had 600,000. And then we gotta complete the Hallowell paving and Hallowell drainage. And that adds up to 805,000, and we figured the balance was gonna be at 1.1 million of funds coming in. So, would it be good, this is the first reading, would it be good for the second reading to bring all that up to date with what we've actually updated any of those, because
Yes,
we're running close.
right. Yes, we are. Yes, we can do that.
Any further discussion, comments? Jerry?
This is the first reading.
Yes.
Second reading would be almost our next council meeting in the middle of May. Does the Public Works Director want to get started on this? And when does he plan?
Well, we can wait till May.
Any further discussion? If not, we'll have a roll call vote.
Jeff West.
Yes.
Ken Fletcher.
Yes.
Jerry Kurian.
Yes.
Patricia West.
Yes.
Steve Russell.
Yes. We will move on to resolution number 16, 2019. Resolution providing for application for a restaurant license, class 1, 2, 3, 4 liquor license renewal for the Lobster Trap and Steakhouse, 21 Bay Street, Winslow, Maine. What is your pleasure?
So moved.
Moved and seconded. Open for discussion. If there's no discussion, all in favor, please raise your right hand. Opposed, same sign. Pass unanimous. That completes our regularly scheduled business. Is there anybody who would like to have any discussion items brought up? I see we have something from the...
Mr. Chairman, Superintendent Peter Top, give us an update.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Give us an update, and, I don't think we need to review that. But can we ask that as we go forward, if we do get any updates, even if it's some relative timeline, that we just get that supplied to the council? Thank you.
Thank you. Any other items? Yes.
So accommodating. So accommodating.
You want to meet on the Bassett Road tomorrow? Meet me on the Bassett Road tomorrow? I mean, how are we planning on fixing? We have a lot of potholes, and I've gotten a lot of emails that I've kind of forwarded to you through Mike, but like, how are we planning on fixing these issues if they're not on the schedule to be paved? And I know it's not just us.
I assume when you get cold patch in, you were planning on going out there?
Cold patch, right now, they're out statewide.
There's no cold patch statewide, right?
Do we know when we're getting some in?
Probably another 2 weeks in the fight. Which is why we have in drags.
Okay.
Good, Mr. Chairman, I think that's a very good point you bring up. I don't know if I'm just more aware of it, but the roads have taken a beating this winter.
Yeah.
So.
I didn't realize we were
not the only ones.
We aren't the only ones, I can tell you that.
And I guess that explains it if we're out of cold patch statewide.
Right. Well, there's cold patch and then there's hot patch coming later. So when Public Works and Town Manager are ready, just to give us an assessment as to what we're looking ahead, looking at all the work we're gonna need to do, just to patch the roads. You can't do it with cold patch because the water comes out.
Comes out, yep.
You're gonna do it with hot patch for the longer term. Just to give us an idea as to what we're looking at, that'll be helpful.
Do we have a plan of every year what roads we're tackling? Is that gonna be part of that comprehensive plan committee thing? Like, is that part of it?
No, that wouldn't be part
That would
of
be his plan of action, right?
Yeah, the Public Works Director gives us a list of roads each year. Of course, that's dictated by what we have for money to do the projects.
Well, yeah.
So we come up with a.
And how bad they are.
Right.
So we need an update for this coming summer, next summer.
I mean, we already know kind of what we're going to be doing
This summer, we know the big ones.
Way more bad than it is.
I know.
Yeah.
It's not a cop-out.
No, I know.
And, I think at one point we even talked about like a 5-year look ahead.
Yeah.
So because.
People are gonna call and ask what year you're gonna do it. It'd be nice to know what the order is.
Yeah.
Any further discussion?
Morning coffee, 7 a.m. I'll bring you a donut. 6:30.
One question.
Nope.
That question is we have our new sidewalk plow, and you wanted to look for an attachment that you use to mill bad sections of road. Are you gonna put in for it?
Yeah, I will. We get the money for it, so we haven't gone through the process. But they work on the API.
I assume, that's just the end, isn't it?
No, that's what we plan on doing with the machine, is try to grind and hot mix the bad spot. For some places, it's just the bad spots don't stop.
Keep growing.
Get it. Set that in?
No. I mean, we bought 80 tons of cold mix this winter.
Yeah.
It's not bad. It's been a bad winter for everybody. There's no easy solution. Coming up with a plan is easy.
I know. I'm spoiled. I'm on 201.
But you guys will have a panic when you see the cost. But it is what it is.
So currently, you're just using gravel and dirt to fill in the potholes?
In the smaller side streets, and, you know, like I said, we've got probably 3/4 of a load left from 2 weeks ago, and we're trying to keep it for the main drags, like, you know, Benton Avenue and probably places like that. The ones that have a heavier traffic, you know. But it's just, this weather we're having today and again tomorrow, it doesn't help. It just,
it's gonna break it up.
Plow it out. Not being very kind.
No, not grouchy.
Have we put in an MPI on the lower Benton Avenue?
I just sent my narrative into Mike, and I just got another update from a year ago, so maybe tomorrow. I'll send that to you, send that in. We've actually got the 22nd for MPI, so we'll try something before that. See what happens.
Make a motion to adjourn.
No one's made it yet.
Make a motion to adjourn.
So moved. Moved and seconded.